The Democrats, I know a lot of people say they have all the money. They don't really have all the money this time. So we're going to keep pressing hard, getting the information to the voters as much as we can in the next 19 days. And I look forward to being out there with all of you as we work on this. So that is my update. As you know, I'm always out and about, so please stop me if you have any questions, and I'd be happy to work with you and get you engaged if you're not working with some of our projects already. So that's my report, and we'll move on to the Secretary's report. Mr. Kelly?
Hôm nay đang họp để chuẩn bị cho cái bầu cử năm tới sắp tới quý vị.
I'll talk like this. All right. So first things first. Next slide. In December, we will start the new 4-year cycle. So that's our organizational meeting, and we'll actually be talking about the rules for it tonight. But for some of you that are members today, if you didn't go through that cycle, we talked about it all summer, we have to basically have you get elected again after the December meeting. So a heads up on that. It's an organizational meeting. We'll send out information on that, but there's no meeting in November because there's something going on. But in December, we hit the button and reset. So just want you to understand that. We'll be communicating to you about that. Okay. A lot of folks, next slide please. A lot of folks ask us about how are we structuring things, and Aaron gave you a clue about how many people have voted and things like that. We, along with some data that we were able to get from third parties, looked at different parts of the county and where we could have the most impact. And even though that there's a couple hundred or more precincts in the county, we pretty much figured out that 73 locations would give us 50% of the Republican vote. Like we'd be able to reach them, right? So it's very efficient. So you'll see that we're pouring a lot of resources into these mega precincts, and you'll also see that the MPAs, if you look at the chart, there's a lot of MPAs there, so that is congruent to what Aaron was talking about earlier in terms of these are the people we need to go after, right? So sometimes people are like, hey, I want to poll watch, or I want to do something. We might steer you to a different spot. It's not that it's unimportant. It's just that we're really trying to put our resources where we can have maximum impact. Because what's going to happen on November 5th at about 5 o'clock is a lot of these places are going to get real busy. And it's going to stay busy. And we have to have people there handing out voter cards, answering questions, and being ready. Okay, so it's going to be, long periods of quiet followed by this frenetic, crazy time on the 5th. So we just wanted to give some perspective on that. Some people also ask, what if the Dems are trying to add people onto the voter rolls, whatever. If you were not registered to vote by October 7th, you cannot vote in the election that's coming up, right? So that's a cutoff, right? So you're worried about that, right? We don't have same-day registration in Florida. So just to give you a perspective, we know the numbers, we know where we're going, okay? All right, next item. Many of you, when you came in, were handed this ridiculous yellow sheet. I made it ugly on purpose so you wouldn't forget it, okay? So over the last 2 years, we've talked to you about building your team. Now it's time to deploy your team, right? So you should be at the point where you're thinking, okay, who's putting out signs at my precinct on election day? If I don't know, I better volunteer, or I better find somebody to volunteer, right? Do I have poll watchers in my precinct? Are you involved in this, right? You can find these things out. Same thing with poll workers. Are there poll workers in my area? All of these things we've coached you on over the last couple of years, and I know many of you are doing these things, right? This is your checklist. The voter guide crew. Is it going to be somebody during that rush in the afternoon handing out voter guides at my precinct, right? If I'm in an impact precinct. So these are things that if you don't know about your precinct, you need to find out, and the people are here tonight that can help you find that out. As a matter of fact, they're all listed on the back also, okay? So can't make it any easier. Now, That's election day. The things you can do now, Chad will be up later, you can make phone calls. It's super effective for us to do that. We need you to dial away. What's been really, really impactful and a lot of fun is folks are going door to door with the voter guides in their neighborhoods and handing them out, right? And it's like Christmas Day when you hand this to somebody, like Aaron said, you give them the answers to the test, okay? If you have not done this in your precinct or in your neighborhood, you're gonna hear tonight on how to do that, okay? So basically, I'm giving you the roadmap on how to be more effective in your neighborhood or in your precinct, and to check, you know, how am I doing, right? So I have mine, and I'm fortunate that I have other people to work with in my precinct, like Merrick and like Gretchen. So we have ours almost completely full. Not quite yet, but we're trying to make sure that we have all our bases covered. Hopefully you can too, okay? So you'll hear a lot about that tonight. I'm really excited because, as Aaron described, like we have a lot of bases covered. We just need to go execute. Great. All right, so I don't want to talk too long, so I won't get executed. Could you make sure that we accept the minutes from September? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Secretary. So we had, thank you so much. As you can see, the secretary role is more than taking notes. It is systems organizing in such a large county. Thank you, Kevin. The minutes were attached to the email, so is there a motion to approve the September 2024 minutes? Motion to approve by Carol, second. Second, Judy. Any discussion over the minutes? From Nancy? Where's Nancy? She read them. She approves them. All right, seeing there's no discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Any opposed? All right, up next, treasurer's report. Wade Bailey. There he is.
Everybody, what's happening? I got the checkbook. Makes me look more official. This is where all the money is. Okay. Anyway, hey, real quick, I want to make an announcement real fast. If you have some time between now and the election, and you want to go help out in a swing state, go to the front lines. Talk to me, I can give you contact, all your expenses paid, maybe you'll make a little on the side, I don't know. But yeah, if you're willing to do that, come to see me, and I'll give you a contact you can call and make that happen. Personally, I'm going to Wisconsin for the last 2 weeks of the election, and I'm going to go to the front line, see what happens. We're going to fight them. So, anyway. Anyway, as far as the money goes, we're looking good. Looking really good. Take a look at it. We look at revenues first. $137,000 in revenue, including $109,000 on Lincoln Day. Now, the variance there between last year and this year on Lincoln Day is that we actually sold more tables, but we didn't get as many sponsors. But it worked out fine. We actually made a little more money because we didn't have to pay speakers as much. So it was a very successful event, just in case you're wondering that. Anyway, and we also made a bunch of money on some signs. We don't make money, we got to pay the signs too. So that's over here in the expenses. Take a look at that real fast. You can see the event expense, the Lincoln Day, so you do your 107 minus 44. You get a pretty good idea of how we did. You can see now we have rent to pay. Printing is getting expensive a little bit. And we need to make some categories. I think we need categories now that I'm looking at it. Because like, for instance, we should have So I put a lot of things
Thank you, man.
quite a bit. So I'd like to be able to parse that out so we can budget for future years. Anyway, and that's the expenses. Next.